Welcome to ICF Insights. I'm Tony Marchese. Today we're going to have an engaging conversation about the nature of proprietary higher education. And with me I've got two guests, and I'm really grateful you guys were able to join me today for the program. I've got Eric Engberg, who is the president of the West Virginia Junior College Charleston campus, and Ashley Stinnett, who is the academic dean at the West Virginia Junior College. So welcome both of you, and thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us, Tony.
Thanks
Great.
for the invite.
You're welcome. We've got a pretty ambitious agenda for today, and I hope that we can get through everything, and if not, we might just have to have you on again. So hopefully you'd be up for that.
Sure.
The catalyst for the conversation today is based upon my initial exposure to your institution, and Ashley, you had invited me to attend a community, kind of a stakeholder forum or event. Was that last summer, or was it spring?
That was back, I guess that would have been back in early summer.
Yeah, it was a while ago, and
Yeah.
and I remember going to that, and it was very interesting. And then I participated in the faculty in service last month, and you know, you guys have been in my backyard basically for years, but I never really knew the scope, the mission of the institution, and I have a feeling there might be some others out there that are in a similar place. And so for the purposes of our discussion today, I'd like to learn more about your school, but more specifically, I'd like to explore the nature of proprietary for-profit post-secondary education. What is it? What makes it different? I'd like to look at some common criticisms, some advantages of that approach to higher education, and maybe even attempt to gauge what the future might look like for post-secondary education within the context of your institution. So if you would each introduce yourselves, tell me about your journey to the West Virginia Junior College. Eric?
Sure. My journey was definitely a long one. I've worked in higher education for coming on about 20 years now. And I originally started out in Minnesota, worked at a school there. Actually started out as an instructor. Taught my way up, went through the academic side of operations through several positions, then was eventually offered a campus of my own as a campus director. And you know, through that experience, it wasn't something I originally started out to do. I never thought of being an instructor, never thought of working in education, but I just so fell in love with the mission of proprietary education, which was, you know, giving students an opportunity to do something that they might not have thought was possible. It's just an amazing feat to see students, you know, coming from, you know, very diverse backgrounds, sometimes very challenging backgrounds, and finding them being able to be successful in a career field. It's just super rewarding.
Well, I'm glad that you're here today, and you are actually completing your first year at this institution.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
yeah, it's been an amazing roller coaster for sure.
We'll talk about some of the things that you guys have been up to today. Ashley, tell me about, I know a lot about your background. You've done a lot of different things, but how did you come to the junior college?
You know, if somebody would have said to me, you're going to be working in higher ed 6 years ago, I would have laughed. That was not my intentions, but the more I started working in higher education, the more I fell in love with it. And like Eric was saying, you know, I like the diversity, the varying backgrounds. I started working on this level about 5.5 years ago. I actually started as an adjunct instructor, and I fell in love with studying the different ways of interactions, pedagogies, you know, learning modules, because I basically developed a philosophy to teach the way I would want to be taught. And so I kind of went from there to working in admin and recruiting. And I was with the same college for about almost 5 years, right at 5 years, 2-year school here locally. And I had a chance to start working in the community and promoting higher ed on this level, the 2-year level, because I'm a big believer in it. And then I was fortunate enough to land here at WVJC as an academic dean, because I'd always wanted to get back into academics after spending some time in the marketing, recruiting side of it.
And you're also completing your first year at this institution.
I am, yeah. I'm also completing my first year. And one of the biggest things that, you know, I really enjoyed about this level and working here is the local feel, the give back to the community, the deep involvement in this Charleston area.
That sounds great. Thank you. And Eric, could you talk about the mission and some of the programmatic emphases of your institution?
Sure. The mission of the organization is to provide career-focused education based around building relationships with our students. Everything that we do is about building relationships, whether it's our students, our employers, externship sites. We want to create a strong bond between us and who we work with. And we do that across several programs: business, information technology, medical administrative assisting, medical assisting, dental, and legal administration. And we do that in an open, embracive atmosphere that allows students to be successful.
I've worked in higher education for almost 20 years as well, and I was struck at both functions that I attended at your institution at that what appeared to be just a very strong connection between faculty and students. When I heard some of the student testimonies during that first event, they were very moved by the experiences that they had working with your staff. And then when I was participating with your faculty, and I was struck by how much they knew about the students that they're working with and what they're struggling with, what they're getting ready to do professionally, since they've just graduated. And it was just really, it made me feel good, to see that. So I think that you're really living that mission from what I've seen.
Yeah, no, I believe it. It's something that you have to feel deep inside. No one's going to go into education to get rich. It's all about what you feel. And when you see those bonds being built every day, and see the impact that you can have on students and their lives and their families, and it goes on. When you go to graduation and you see a student and they have their own kids with them and their parents with them and grandparents and extended families, and it's all around that moment of reaching that goal of education, graduating and moving on to that career. It's just an amazing feeling.
Let's talk about the type of student, Ashley, that you encounter as a dean. Is it a traditional 18 to 20-year-old? Or does it maybe the student looks a little different than that?
We have a healthy variety. And what I mean by that is we have students who come out of high school, 18, 19 years old, who have never attended college ever before. We have the 35, 40-year-old single mother, sometimes 30-year-old single father, and this is a second chance for them. Because I think that, at the core fabric of just human nature is a yearning, a desire for something more. And our student population, even though it is diverse, and sometimes comes from, maybe a troubled life outside of school. Maybe they started college years ago and didn't finish because life got in the way. But at the core fabric of their being is a desire to have a better quality of life. And the students that I interact with every day, as diverse as they all share that bond, that they truly want a better quality of life. And, we try every day to deliver on that.
Some of our viewers may be familiar with public higher education or private higher education. But what is proprietary education, Eric?
Well, it's really what the word implies, is proprietary. It's something that is solely available through the mode that we deliver it. Public education is all about responding to the public's needs in a very open atmosphere, but it kind of also looks at least common denominator. We want to serve as many people as we possibly can in a way that serves the largest student body. And that certainly works for a lot of people. I'm a product of public education, K-12 plus college, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so we see proprietary education as another opportunity for students to be successful in an environment that is more suited to their abilities or their needs.